Have you ever walked away from a conversation only to find it just playing on a loop in your head for hours, maybe even days? It's a super common habit, but what if I told you it's not just overthinking? Today, we're going to dive into what psychology says is really happening when your brain hits that replay button.
You know the feeling, right? The conversation is officially over, but in your head, it's just getting started. You're going over what you said, what they said, and oh man, what you should have said. It's this mental loop that can be pretty relentless.
And I'm willing to bet that if you've ever mentioned this to someone, you've heard this exact phrase. Or maybe you've been told you're just chronically anxious and that you really need to just let it go. But here's what's so fascinating. Modern psychology is starting to see this in a totally different light. This mental replay loop, it's not just random brain noise or a simple case of anxiety. There's actually a much deeper and way more constructive process at play.
And this, right here, is the most crucial point. It is not a flaw. In fact, psychologists now believe it's often a sign of some very specific and sometimes even uncommon mental traits. It points to a mind that's just wired to work on a completely different level. So, let's get into it. We're going to break down 6 distinct traits that are almost always found in people who replay conversations. Let's find out what's really happening inside that reflective mind of yours.
Okay, first up, high self-awareness. This is a big one. People who do this almost always have it in spades. See, you're not just replaying the words, like a recording. Nope, you're analyzing your own delivery, how your words might have landed, and their real impact on the other person.
It is so easy to just label this as obsessing, but in psychology, it's got a much more accurate name: strong self-monitoring. You're not stuck. You're actually naturally wired to reflect on your own behavior. It's how you come to better understand yourself and the social world around you.
Second is a real capacity for strong emotional processing. Conversations, especially the ones that matter, are just packed with complex emotions. Replaying them is basically your brain's natural way of sitting down and sorting through all of that emotional data.
So the reframe here is really powerful. It's not that you can't let go of feelings. It's actually the opposite. Instead of just pushing emotions away, your mind actively goes back to them. This internal replay is the very tool it uses to make sense of what you felt and why you felt it.
Third, and this one builds right on the last point, is a high sensitivity to subtle social cues. We're talking about the slight shift in someone's tone, a super brief facial expression, or a tiny change in body language that most other people would miss completely.
And no, this isn't about reading too much into things. Think of your brain more like a powerful data collector. It stores these tiny details because it knows they're crucial, and it replays the whole interaction to decode the unspoken meanings, what was happening behind the words.
Let's just pause here for a second. Is this starting to ring a few bells? Are you seeing yourself in this description? And is it maybe starting to feel less like a flaw and more like a core feature of how your mind actually works?
Okay, trait number 4, and this one is huge. More often than not, replaying a conversation isn't about regret, it's actually about learning. Your brain is essentially running a simulation, reviewing what could have been said with more clarity or how a situation could have been handled differently.
You see, this isn't self-punishment at all. It's a reflection of a growth-focused mindset. You're doing this because you have a genuine, built-in desire to be a better, more effective communicator the next time around. It's practice.
Fifth on our list is a strong memory for social experiences. Psychology shows us that emotionally charged moments get stored way more vividly in our brains. That's exactly why you can remember a specific conversation from years ago, but have absolutely no idea what you ate for breakfast last Tuesday.
So this isn't about being stuck. Your brain simply tags human interactions as highly important data. It keeps revisiting those files just to make sure no valuable insights were missed and that all the lessons are fully integrated.
And finally, number 6, higher mental activity. Simply put, people who do this tend to have very active, fast-moving minds. For you, thoughts don't just stop when an interaction is over. Your brain just keeps working. And here's the final reframe. That feeling that your mind won't switch off, it isn't a bug, it's a feature. It means your brain is literally designed for continuous processing. In fact, this constant mental activity is often linked to really positive traits, like higher intelligence and creativity. So after looking at all 6 of these traits, what's the big takeaway here? Well, it's that we need to shift our perspective entirely, away from all that self-criticism and towards real self-understanding. Let's be perfectly clear about this. You are not a broken overthinker. You are not fundamentally anxious or flawed just because you do this.
It is a sign of something else entirely.
The truth is, your mind is simply processing the world, all the social cues, the emotions, the lessons, at a much deeper level than most. It's the sign of a complex, reflective, and deeply engaged mind.
So the real question is, what happens when you stop seeing this trait as some kind of problem to be fixed and start seeing it as the very engine of how you operate? Because once you start understanding your own mind, you stop fighting it, and you start working with it. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.